Hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Y'all in here. Y'all in here tonight. Let me open the chat. I did put it on subscriber mode only. Hold on. Sorry about that. So, hopefully we can keep the trolls at bay. Now, I finally want to talk about Kevin Samuels passing. A lot of you have requested that I talk about this. And look, let me first say this. I know that you guys are a lot of times very eager to hear my opinion on things. But one, I have a life outside of YouTube. Okay. I say this all the time, but y'all be DMing me, Chrissy, where you at? Are you going to talk about this? And I appreciate that. I love it that you guys want my opinion on things, but y'all, you got to give me a minute. Okay. I don't do YouTube full time, girl. I got a life. I got a job. I got a business to run outside of YouTube. I can't, and that's the first thing. And the second thing is it's just not my style to just immediately jump on trending topics, especially when it comes to something like this, because you get a lot of things wrong if you just jump on it immediately. A lot of facts came out, and the people who jumped on the story immediately got a lot of shit wrong. So that's the benefit of kind of waiting to see, the information that comes out, right? And I know y'all hate when I wait, but I waited to do this one, and I'm glad I did. And I also wanted to see how the manosphere would react to this. I've listened to several videos now, read a bunch of comments. So now I feel like I can address specifically what the main talking points are coming from the men, coming from black men, coming from the manosphere, especially the part about quote unquote speaking ill of the dead. Now, we really going to get into that tonight. We really going to get into that tonight because I made a community post about this around the time that Kevin passed. And I don't know if some of y'all thought that, I feel you shouldn't speak ill of the dead. I don't think that. I feel like, and then look, if y'all don't like me when I'm alive, don't act like you don't like me when I'm dead. Like, I don't give a fuck. Say whatever you got to say. Okay, I just want to put that out there. I don't care about none of that. I really don't. I don't care about none of that. Now I'm not the one to celebrate people's deaths, but it's like, just to talk about somebody and critique them, that's not the same as celebrating. And so I think a lot of people are just mad that a lot of black women aren't worshiping Kevin. And I think they're being dishonest about what they're really upset about. Thank you, Intuitive Death, for your super chat. I really, really think that's what it is. It's not that you think black women are celebrating his death. I think that you are mad because we aren't. That's what I think. And so I want to talk about that. And let me say this: I see a very small minority of black women who are actually celebrating Kevin being dead. It's not, it's a very small number of black women who are actually celebrating. And I'm seeing them say things like, oh, well, black women are less harsh on thugs than the criminals in the community. Kevin didn't kill anyone. And y'all like rappers and they shit on y'all in music every day. And what about R. Kelly? First of all, let me say this. Let's keep it a buck, black men. Y'all would be mad if we celebrated the death of any black man. Can we keep it real about that? It don't matter what he did. Y'all would be mad. Y'all was mad at the black women who were holding R. Kelly accountable. Do y'all not remember that? And see, this is why, even though sometimes you don't want to speak on things, you kind of have to because the community is so full of shit. They're so full of shit. And it's like, are y'all really gonna get up here and lie like this? and think you just gonna get away. Like this is why I feel so compelled to speak on this stuff, because y'all are lying. You're lying. You get mad whenever we talk about black male criminals and thugs in the communities, and thugs in the community, and Pookies and Ray Rays. You get mad every single time we criticize them. So what are you talking about? Let's not act like these so-called high value black men don't also identify with low value black men. Let's get into it. Like, can we tell the truth for once? They get mad when black women criticize them, but they also claim to hate these men. They hate that black women have babies by them. But anytime we criticize those men, they're all up in arms. Why are you, if you're nothing like them and you can't stand them, and they should be getting, um more ridicule when they die, then why do you get mad when we criticize them? I don't understand that. I mean, wasn't Kevin himself in Future's video? He was in Future's video. The very same kind of baby daddy he complained about. Like, so, like, to me that talking point doesn't even make sense. Oh, well, y'all don't treat the rappers like this. Even if we did, y'all would still have something to say. Those are your friends. Those are the men you identify with. And something else, stop conflating populations of black women. The women who didn't like Kevin Samuels don't like Pookie and Ray Ray either. The black women who defend rappers and defend men like R. Kelly and other criminals and degenerates in the black community, they're the same women who are defending Kevin Samuels. So I also think we need to understand which women are doing what. That's another thing. Because all the women out here defending Kevin Samuels, they also defended R. Kelly. They're those same type of women. Okay, so I'm going to talk more about black women celebrating Kevin's death in a minute, because I gotta talk about the optics and stuff. There's some shit that I feel like wasn't a good look for black women. I'm gonna circle back around to that, but let's first discuss the fake morality in the black community. You see that in the title, the selective morality. This is what really has been triggering me listening to these conversations. And just like I said on my community tab, I want to highlight the fake morality in the black community. I want to remind the black women listening on, and the black men listening, because I know you here too. I want to remind y'all of how the manosphere responded when Lauren Smith Fields passed away while being on a date with the white man that she met on Bumble. Let me go ahead and share my screen, because we're gonna have to do some hashtag never forget type of shit around here, because y'all literally will just make up stuff. Like, one week you'll be saying one thing, and literally 2 weeks later, a month later, a couple months later, you'll be saying something totally different. So you really got to keep screenshots on these niggas in these community, because in this community, because they will really lie. They will really lie, and it's honestly disgusting. So all this fake morality, oh, they're celebrating Kevin's death. This is what you niggas do all the time. So let's go ahead and share the screen. Yeah, hashtag put in the comment, and we're gonna play some of Kevin's videos too, just some little sound samples, because we put in the comment section hashtag never forget. Okay, because these niggas act like they have amnesia, and they sitting here lying to black women, and a lot of y'all are falling for it. So I think every time they do this shit, we need to start putting hashtag never forget. I think that's what we should do. So can you guys see my screen? Get up in here. Oh shoot. Okay. So the beautiful Lauren Smithfield, she was so beautiful, right? Woman reported dead by white man she met on Bumble. Family says police won't investigate. These are comments from black men. And someone asked me in a previous video why I black out these men's names. And I do it for my own safety. And I don't know if you looked around my social media timelines and stuff. I've cleaned up a lot of my stuff because these men are not safe. This community is not safe. And so I've even had to take some of my personal stuff down because I don't trust them. I don't trust them, and I'm going to show you some other stuff in a minute coming from Kevin Samuels followers because it's that. And I understand why some of you who aren't content creators really don't understand why I black out the names. You think these men don't deserve to be protected, but I do it for that reason. I do that to protect myself, okay? And I'm not fear mongering you ladies at all, but this is real. This is real life. It's dangerous out here. So if you're smart, you will be trying to protect yourself from these men as well. You will be getting strapped up, protecting yourselves, carrying some sort of self defense item because these men could be anywhere. You don't know. You don't know if you'll be around them. So just protect yourself. But look at these comments. She divested and leveled up all the way to heaven. She got zurdered. I've had a look at that coroner's report. Apparently, she died of swirlitis mortis. Oh well, she will see white heaven. Zaddy ain't playing with them dirt naps. And this is just a few of them. This is not all of them. And people say, "Oh, it's only, a few comments." Look at the number of likes. That's what you have to take into account as well. These men agree with this shit, you guys. There are men who are silently agreeing with this kind of stuff. But does this look like a group of men who care anything about speaking ill of the dead? Does this look like they really give a shit about that? Why are y'all letting this community play y'all? Are you serious? Are you serious? Stop the cap. Oh yeah, I know. I know it's not just Lauren, but they do this anytime a black woman dies in a way that they think her personal choices could have prevented. When have black men ever respected dead black women? When have they ever respected black women in death? You have black men talking real greasy about Bell Hooks when she passed away. Who was that black feminist that passed away not too long ago, maybe a few years back? I forget who it was. Y'all can put it down in the chat box. But it was a manosphere dude talking greasy about her too. Yeah, they did that to Sandra Bland, Asia Menard. Yes. What's the 16-year-old that I went off about? Micaiah Bryant? Yeah. Yeah, Toni Morrison, that's who it was. Yeah. Breonna Taylor, exactly. Like the list goes on. So black women, please stop letting these men gaslight you and talk about how you're not respecting the dead. They never respect the dead. They never respect the dead. Stop the cap. You're mad because now it's somebody that you like. Can we stop playing? Can we stop playing around? Yeah, Frances Cress Welsing. Yep. Corinne Gaines. Yes, thank you. Thank you. And so y'all are over here getting lessons on morality from people who have a following full of men who celebrate the deaths of black women every single day. Y'all call swirling black women divestors, DIE vestors, divestors. That's what you call black women who date out. But now you're shaking in your boots because a minority of black women are celebrating the death of Kevin Samuels. Whatever. You're full of shit. All of you. The quote unquote evil claims and fake righteousness and all of that, it's just it's ridiculous in this community. And we smart black women over here, we don't believe you. We don't believe you. And black women, you really have got to stop allowing black men in the black community to hold you to standards that they don't uphold themselves. You need to stop allowing them to do that. Hashtag never forget. And for those who are saying, oh, well, what about his mom and daughter? They're black women. That's another thing that they do to black women. They start bringing up other black women to kind of soften you up a little bit and manipulate you and make you feel empathy and make you feel more compassion than you really need to feel. And that's another trick bag. It's very manipulative what they do to black women. And this is why we have to speak on it. Even if it's not really, quote unquote appropriate, we have to, because what y'all are doing is not right. It's not right, and you keep lying about it. But no, and I said this on my community tab, but we look. I didn't see any tributes because this is black women saying this too. Well, what about his mom? What about his daughter? And let me say something to y'all fake ass black women. Where were the tributes to Lauren Smith Field's mother? Where were the tributes to her mother and the other black women in her family when she died? From these, because I didn't see them, from these same black women trying to get us to feel some type of way because he had a black mom and and a black daughter. Where were these same black women at talking about Lauren's mama? Where was y'all at? I didn't see no tributes to Lauren's mama. It's cap. It's fake. It's fake. I saw black women, some of the same black women talking about, I'm not gonna celebrate the dead. I ain't gonna dance on his grave because of karma. I ain't gonna because I don't want that coming back on me. You was the same one doing videos on Lauren Smith Fields talking about sugar babies. How is that respecting her and her death? How is that respecting her mama and the women in her family? Hmm? Y'all need to stop letting them do this to y'all because it's ridiculous. It's giving disingenuous. And as I said on my community tab, black women don't have to, we don't owe respect to Kevin because his mother and daughter are black women. Did Kevin feel like he owed us anything simply because we're black like his mother and daughter? Did he cut us any slack because we were black like his mama? Hmm? Kevin carelessly disparaged not only our image, but his mom and daughter's image as well to millions of people every single day. How do you think the loved ones of the women Kevin Samuels felt when they saw him exploiting the women that they love on the internet? How do you think they felt? And another argument I keep saying, oh well, Kevin, his resources are going to black women. It's going to his mother and his daughter. Look, Kevin does not get cool points for sharing his money with a handful of black women in his family when he was simultaneously disparaging black women in front of millions of people every day. That's not how this works. Does it ever matter, when black women are with black men and they criticize black men? Black men don't care. They don't care that you're married to a black man. They don't care that you're fucking a black man every night. They don't care about that. They don't care about the black men that you're connected to. All they care about is what you're saying about them. And when it comes to sharing his money, was Kevin sharing his money with his daughter? Because rumor has it that they weren't even that close. And he didn't even take care of her like that. I don't know if it's true. I don't know. But if it is true, Kevin did what a lot of black men do. He made money off the black woman's image, but he took that shit home to a non-black woman. That's what he did. And no, I don't believe the rumors that Kevin died broke. I don't believe that he died broke because we saw that nigga every day, every single day. We saw low self-esteem black women make him rich by calling into his show. He did not die broke. I don't believe that for 1 second. And we don't know if he was taking care of his daughter or his mother after he got rich. Now that he's dead, his money may go to them. And you know what? They deserve every penny. They deserve every penny of everything he has. The black women in his family deserve after what he's done to their image. They deserve every penny. Yeah, we really don't know where his resources are going. That is very true. Exactly, Eureka. What about the mother of the lady he called average at best? How did she feel? Exactly. Thank you for your super chat. And look, this is not to say that the women who called him weren't also at fault. I have called them out in several videos. I'm like, why, why would you call him? Why would you, set yourself up like that? But that doesn't mean that Kevin gets to escape accountability. That's not how this works. He manipulated a lot of those women. And let's just be honest, he phrased a lot of his questions in ways to purposely humiliate black women. That was his goal the whole time. I mean, he was a shock jock. He had to put on a show. And he knew that the reason why people were there, they wanted to see him humble black women. He was extremely disrespectful, and anyone with sense could see that. Now, let's look at what some of Kevin's disciples are saying. We'll start with this one. Look at this. And again, I blocked out the names because I'm protecting myself. Can you guys see that? Yeah, and they always want to say, "Oh, talk about my following being a cult and how, we're the sisterhood of failure." No, they're the brotherhood of failure. Look at this. Look at this. So this guy here, excuse me, he says, "Start destroying black women in person." This guy says, "It's time to get revenge for KS death." This guy says, "I'm a chief in a restaurant. So to honor KS, I'll be adding a little of my jizz to each black woman food orders." Yo, if it's true about Kevin, I'm letting loose on y'all out here. This one says, "I hope they release a virus that makes every black woman with a weave catch an aggressive, I think he meant incurable, skin cancer." Yeah, and these are real because y'all know every time we pull out receipts, it ain't never real. Y'all ain't never do it. They're always made up, they're always forged. And it's not just black men who do that, it's black women too. Every time you catch them up on what they say, it ain't never real. This shit is real. Yeah, this is what they're saying. Hold on, y'all. This one says, "We will gather in solidarity to defend Kevin's legacy he left for us. Shit about to get real intense." Yeah. It's possible that Kevin was assassinated by a conspiring group of black women. I smell foul play. I hope KS is all good. If it's true, I'ma go brazy and turn into a demon. KS soul gonna live through us all. If it's true about Kevin, I'm letting loose on y'all out here. Yeah, this is what nobody is showing you, right? These are the type of abusive men that supported Kevin. And this is part of why his platform was so problematic. They are literally plotting on black women, threatening to attack us in person. And if we tell you this, we're fear mongering you, right? We're fear mongering. We're trying to put fear in you. No, this is real. This is what they're saying. And you're telling us, "Oh, don't take them seriously. That's just a few trolls." It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot. We don't know where these men are. And this one is really killing me. It's possible that Kevin was assassinated by a conspiring group of black women. What? You notice how some of the manosphere are trying to tie black women into this when we have absolutely nothing to do with it? Black men are so desperate to make literally everything the black woman's fault. And let me tell you something. I am so happy he wasn't with the black woman when he died, because a lot of these videos would be crazy right now. And we would be really getting blamed. It would be even worse. And I know they're kind of doing that with the Latina woman. It's kind of died down since the 911 call was released, but they're kind of sort of doing it with her. But his friends, the people who love him, they're protecting her. But if she were a black woman, oh, you think they would be doing that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I am so happy he did not die with a black woman. And I don't know if some of y'all saw, and I should have took screenshots of this too, but some black women or some black men are actually trying to blame the 911 dispatcher. I don't know if you heard her, but she sounded like a black woman. And because she didn't sound, I don't know, urgent enough on the call, they're saying that she wasn't moving quickly enough and she was, doing that on purpose because the woman said it was Kevin Samuels. So, do you see what they're doing here? Trying to blame this on black women somehow, some way. There were clubhouse rooms talking about how the black women killed Kevin's spirit. I'm like, really? Really? It's just crazy. Somebody said blank screen. Y'all don't see the screen? Yeah. People blaming it on the 911 dispatcher. And I mean, what is she supposed to do? Cry on the phone? Right. Jay Buggin says they're supposed to stay calm. Yeah. They're trained to stay calm. And they get those kind of calls every night. People calling all disoriented because somebody's dying in front of them. Like, you think they're not used to that? I'm sure they're numb to that kind of stuff. So they're not gonna sound like. And then another thing, what if she didn't even know Kevin Samuels? A lot of people don't know Kevin. A lot of people didn't know who he was. I know a lot of people I know don't watch Kevin. They didn't watch Kevin. It's a dark screen. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me okay? Let me see if I can see what y'all see. Okay, well, at least y'all can hear me. I don't know why it's a blank screen, but I'll try to fix that because there's something else I want to play. Um, but yeah, this is these are Kevin Samuels followers, okay? But let his supporters tell it. He was nothing like that, and I beg to differ. And this brings to mind that subway shooter who was a Kevin Samuels follower. And wasn't there another manosphere criminal that was on the news as well? I forget what he did, but wasn't there another guy in the news for doing something crazy that was a part of the manosphere? Wasn't there? Can y'all tell me who that was? Who was that other guy? I know one of them was the Frank guy. but it was another guy too. And we can argue, oh, that's not Kevin's fault. We can't blame him for his followers. But if they were my followers, if one of my followers went out here and shot up a subway or committed some crime that made national headlines, or with men who did that, do you think they wouldn't blame me for that? They'd be making all kind of videos blaming me for that and blaming my message, even though I didn't physically do anything. So again, they don't want to hold the men to the same standards. And what makes us even question Kevin is that he often dismissed or condoned abuse towards black women. So it's like at that point, it's like when people do that, they start inciting the abuse. You get what I'm saying? And that's why I repeatedly tell you guys, when I criticize somebody, I repeatedly say, don't go attacking nobody. Even when I do videos on people, I always say, don't harass them in their comment section. Don't do any of that, because I'm responsible with my platform. Right? But when you constantly dismiss or condone the abuse of black women on your platform, you're inciting violence, whether it's intentional or not. And that was one of the major problems with Kevin Samuels. I don't care how dressed up he was. I don't care how classy he tried to portray himself. This is the ugly part of his legacy. And you can try to deny it, but it's already out there for the world to see, you guys. It's too late. It's too late. So let's listen to some of what Kevin Samuel said. Hashtag never forget. Let's listen to some of this.
You can there and the same, beauty is subjective. That's
Hold on. I don't know why it's so low. Hold on. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Let's see if the sharing the screen works this time. Somebody said it's Mercury retrograde. Yeah, it's showing up, ain't it? Can y'all see that? Can y'all see? Love you, girl. Thank you, Siobhan. Thank you for your super chat. Can y'all see the video? Can y'all see the video? Okay, I think y'all can see it. So let's go ahead and play this.
you can there and the same, beauty is subjective. That's another fallacy. Beauty is not subjective. That's
No,
why
it's not. It's
that's why we
objective.
have the
Can
that's
y'all
why we
hear?
have the golden
Can y'all hear that, or is it low? Because it sounds low on my end. Hold on. The feedback is slow, so I can't. I don't know if it's low to y'all. Give me a second. Is it low? Does it sound low? If it's low, say yes, it sounds low. Okay, so you said you can hear, so we're gonna keep playing.
you can there and the same, beauty is subjective. That's another fallacy. Beauty is not subjective. That's
No,
why
it's not. It's
that's why
objective.
we have That's why we have the golden ratio, the
That's
Fibonacci
right.
equation.
That's
You
right.
can look at
That's right.
facial symmetry and see that
That's right.
beautiful people, you can map their facial structure, and it goes to a mathematical calculation.
Oh yeah.
Beauty is universal. And the
Yep.
thing is, we're talking about black women, they are on the opposite end of the spectrum on all ranks.
I call it the color purpling of the black community. How many times do we hear that women out here dealing with all this abuse, abuse, abuse? I'm gonna do the show on abuse next week because I'm tired of hearing this bullcrap. I sorry, I do not see women being abused. I don't see women. I don't
Yeah, it's audio only. I put it in this type of format because I don't want any copyright. So, yeah.
see black women being physically abused. Never really have. I don't see women. I don't see black women being physically abused. Never really have. I'm gonna just say it. I never really have seen black women being abused. In my entire life, I have known of one woman, and that was one of my mother's friends back in the 70s. One. And she and her husband, or she and her man, they would fight each other. One. Emotional abuse. I will tell you, the emotional abuse comes from women to men, not men to women.
Women feel that it's okay to disrespect a man. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna use it a couple of ways and tie it into something I heard earlier. If we can't hold anybody accountable that we are directly tied to, we can't have a community. That's a I you used to get a whooping by Mr. Brown if Mr. Brown saw you doing something wrong because you were accountable to the community, not just your mama and daddy. And we leave that sitting right there. The women don't today don't fear what Sean Connery told Barbara Walters. There are times when the best course of action is to slap a woman. Let's say you and I.
So far what we've heard, he's basically saying it's okay to slap women. He's saying that black women don't get abused, even though he just said that it's okay to slap a woman. Okay. He also said that black women aren't attractive. That's pretty much what he said. We aren't scientifically attractive. We're on the opposite end of the golden ratio. That's what he said. And so obviously that's why he was with the Latina woman, right? This is the man you guys are defending. This is the man who you're mad at black women for not mourning. Really? Really? And we're supposed to cherry pick the quote unquote good stuff he says as if it overrides all of this stuff. No, this is the foundation. Because y'all get mad when I focus on, what men say about beauty and about dark skinned women and all this, because that is the foundation. Men treat you based on how attracted they are to you. So, and that's why I put that the first clip at the beginning when he said that basically black women are scientifically unattractive, because that colors everything else that he does and says about black women. You guys, I don't understand why you don't see this. They don't like you. They don't find you attractive. They don't think you worth shit. And at that point, when they say that you're unattractive and they don't like the way that you look, of course they feel like you don't deserve anything. Of course they're gonna try to tell you to always date low value men. Of course they're gonna, make you go viral by saying you're average at best. They don't care because they're not attracted to you. That is the foundation for everything. And I really think black women need to understand what they're hearing and really know how to comprehend it. Because if you're already saying that black women, their features are unattractive and scientifically unattractive, then guess what? The weight doesn't matter. At that point, that's what you believe. So the weight doesn't matter, the attitude doesn't matter, none of that matters. You're still going to choose a Latina woman. You're still going to choose a non-black woman. Black women can't change our features. Even if, and this is what I was trying to say about Toby Abumseli. When you get in the realm of talking about black women's areolas and shit, and how our titties don't look as good as non-black titties, There's nothing we can do at that point to change your mind. Your mind is already made up. You have a preference, and it's not us. And because it's not us, but you don't have that much to choose from, you're taking that out on us. You resent us for not being attractive enough. And then you start using weight and attitude and all this other stuff as smoke screens. Oh, black women don't have the right orientation. They aren't traditional enough. All of that shit is cap, y'all. Their main issue is that they're not attracted. That's why I focus so much on beauty. This is what you don't understand. Like, I don't understand what y'all are not getting about this. Who was that guy who said that, was it Chance the Rapper, who said that black men don't believe when dark-skinned women are abused? That's why, because you're dark skinned. They don't like how you look. They're more inclined to believe someone who doesn't look like you. That shit is real. So and to me, as far as I'm concerned, it stops at the beauty conversation. Once you say black women are scientifically proven to be, attractive, and you're pretty much agreeing with that, I don't want to hear shit you have to say about black women at that point. I don't want to hear shit that you have to say. Period. I don't. At that point, everything you say, even if you're right about some stuff, you're the wrong messenger. You're the wrong messenger at that point. So let's continue.
I were to get married, you got a daughter, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say we have 2 kids together. Mm-hmm. And your child is 5. So 10 years from now, your daughter comes home and says, Kevin looked at me getting out of the shower. What happens next?
The relationship will have to end.
Huh?
That's not something.
Let me address something. Applying Wisdom says, but channels like this dedicated to calling out black women are no different from Kevin Samuels calling out black women. Black men and women have major problems, but no one will humble themselves to learn how to unite. It's not my job to unite with men like this. These are not the kind of men you unite with. And this whole idea that Kevin was so pro-black, that's a lie. You're not pro-black when you're sitting up there saying how black women are scientifically unattractive and they don't get abused. That removes you from the pro-black category. And we're not going to sit here and compare my platform to his. I'm calling out what black men do wrong. When I first came on this channel, I was pro-black man. I was all on black men's side. I understood their plight. But then when you start shitting on me and you start gaslighting me and making it seem like my experience is in my head, oh, then we have a problem. Then you're full of shit. These are not men. You can't do anything with these men. You can't unite with these men. So we're not going to do this gaslighting in the chat. We're not going to do this. I don't have to humble myself with men like this. Absolutely not.
The relationship would end immediately.
Because your daughter said I looked at her getting out of the shower.
Let's start this over. Because this is a conversation this he's having with this woman about how if her daughter said that he touched her or looked at her while she was in the shower, she would take up for her daughter. She would say, she was basically saying how the relationship would end. And Kevin was actually mad about it. He was upset about it. And you wonder why black women don't like this man. And these are the men who say that black women are the worst mothers and the worst stewards of children. But you're mad when a black woman says she's going to believe that her child is abused over a man? Are you serious? Y'all don't think anything's wrong with this?
The relationship will have to end.
What happens next? Years from now, your daughter comes home and says, I were to get married, you got a daughter, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say we have 2 kids together. Mm-hmm. And your child is 5. So 10 years from now, your daughter comes home and says, Kevin looked at me getting out of the shower. What happens next?
The relationship will have to end.
Huh?
That's not something the relationship would end immediately.
Because your daughter said I looked at her getting out of the shower.
Why would that person even be close to the bathroom to see her?
Mhm.
That would be the thing. You have to defend your seed. You have to defend your child.
But you also remember you got two of my kids.
Hmm.
So that means I should never listen to it. That means I should avoid women like you, because off the rip, your desire to defend your child blew up two. You got two of my kids, and
And I could like I would even give credit if this wasn't the example that Kevin was using, because I think he was trying to say, oh, this is why dating single mothers is a problem. The kids, the kids from the previous relationship come in between the new relationship. You can have that conversation, but why does this have to be the example? Is that not creepy to y'all that this is the example? Oh, well, what if your daughter said I touched her and you gonna believe her over me, and this is why black women ain't shit? Really? This is the example that you use? Really? This is why single mothers ain't shit, because they wouldn't believe me over their daughter who said I touched him. Really? Really? Oh, it's disgusting.
off rip, your protective instinct says fuck everything, including those other two kids.
Understood.
Do you?
No, I
You
understand.
said the relationship would have to end. So
Yes,
what would you tell? What would you tell our two children?
That's a tough situation.
No, you said the relationship would have to end. So
But
I mean,
it would have to end, because
but what
I
would you
would listen
tell?
to any of my kids. If I have 3 kids, 1 by someone else and 2 by my future
But what I'm
husband,
telling you, what I'm saying is what we tell our two children.
your half sister stated this happened and this is not a comfortable situation and we have to part ways.
You get the
We have to
fuck out.
figure it out.
You can get the fuck out.
Because I'm not the one paying the bills.
No, because you're not taking my kids. See, that's what I mean. Y'all act like y'all got too much power.
It's not power. I'm really
First of all, you didn't
comfortable.
even. First off, you didn't even. I just said if she said it, you didn't even question whether or not the claim was there, because that's your child. That's why I'm saying your child can never be an asset to anybody, because that's the bomb that's always there.
Okay.
Because and what the fuck? What could a man do about that? I could provide everything. We could have children, and automatically you're gonna jump off rip, go for your child. So don't ask me to treat your child like it's biologically mine, when you be willing to blow up my biological children's shit for something else. And kids can say anything.
They can, but you have to protect your kids at all costs.
Then
and you have to talk.
Then no. Leave. No. See, I want you to understand that you have no empathy for men. It's about you and your kid. I'm somebody's child.
Yeah.
What about those children we have together? Man, you're not right in this.
You can. They're in the same.
This is like, and again, it's like, okay, I get the point, but the wrong scenario, the wrong example. And I'm like, oh my God, like, of all things, of all scenarios you could have created in your mind, you choose that one. So that's the creepy type of shit that we're talking about. And then you want to end it saying, oh, and this is why you don't respect men. You have no respect for men. Like you're putting, and this is what Kevin did a lot. He would put black women in a situation. He would give these scenarios or ask the black women a question that would tie their hands behind their back and make it a really difficult situation. This is why I don't understand why they called him. Because just watching that in real time, which is on Paris Milan's channel, definitely check out her video. She does a whole breakdown about it or whatever. But like when you watch it, it's just so uncomfortable to watch. Because it's like you can see her like in her mind, like, oh my God, who would I choose? My man or my kid? Like, why are you even giving black women that ultimatum? Because it's hard for them to choose. That's hard for any woman to make that choice. but you're presenting this scenario so you could have an aha moment. Aha, see, I got you, black women. This is why y'all ain't shit. This is why you have no empathy for men. But that's the scenario that you use. That's the example that you use. It's a trick bag, y'all. That's manipulation. That's manipulation, putting you in a situation on these calls where you never win. You never win. Whatever the question is, whatever the scenario is, you're never going to win. And that is what made Kevin Samuels so dangerous, you guys. That is what made Kevin Samuels so full of shit. It's not that, he didn't have bits and pieces of truth. It's the manipulation that wasn't cool. That's the part that was fucked up about him. And it's like, if you're so good at what you do, if you're so right about it, you don't have to do all that. You don't have to play all these games and turn all these tricks and stuff to be right, to win the argument. You don't have to lie. You don't have to stretch. You don't have to reach, and bend the truth, or just make up some impossible scenario where black women are forced to choose a position that you don't like so you can have an argument, so you can create a show. That's why we call him a shock jock. That's what was wrong with Kevin Samuels. And when you hear stuff like that and you see stuff like that, this is why I can't take any of you seriously when it comes to your fake ass morals. There was no morale in anything that man did. And look, I'm not saying I'm the best person. I'm not saying I'm perfect, because Chrissy's not perfect. I get up here and say all type of fucked up shit. But when it comes to abuse and all that, that's a really touchy subject. Like, you don't do that. So it's like there's a cutoff, and like Kevin didn't know what the cutoff was. It was like no boundaries were there. So this fake morality, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna sit here and make it seem like, you know, Kevin was just this messiah that was so perfect and all he put out into the world was positivity. No, that's not true. And this is why I told black women on my community tab, and I'll say it here again. If you don't want to celebrate Kevin's death, just don't. But as far as feeling the need and feeling like you have to announce it, feeling like you have to tell everybody and tell the world that you're not going to celebrate his death, and you feel like, you got to tell other black women not to do it, and tell them how ain't shit they are. That's all of that's unnecessary, because you know what? You don't get the same respect in this community. Kevin wouldn't have given you that respect, nor would his followers. This is what type of man Kevin was, and his followers. You don't owe them anything, black women. You don't. You don't owe them an announcement saying how you're not gonna celebrate this man. You don't owe him that. Thank you for the super chat, chocolate cake and Taz Tap. Thank you so much. And I said I was gonna circle back around to, this claim that so many black women are celebrating Kevin's death. And I do think that is being exaggerated. I see a lot more black women talking about his toxic legacy and saying how they are indifferent to his passing, and how even though they didn't like him, rest in peace and condolences to his mother and daughter. I'm seeing more of that than anything. And like I said before, I think the real issue here is that many black women aren't mourning Kevin the way they want us to. But the issue is they aren't used to seeing black women not have empathy for a deceased black man who despised black women when they were alive. That's why they get outraged whenever we say we're not going to march for black men if they have a history of disrespecting black women. This is why they get so upset about it. They aren't used to seeing some black women finally put ourselves first and really giving that same energy to them. They're not used to that. And I see people saying, oh, well, celebrating Kevin dying won't change your collective condition, black women. You're still this, you're still average at best, you're still fat. Okay, well, telling black women that they're ugly and they're gonna die alone, that's not gonna change that most of you niggas are dusty. Like, how about that? Like, you're still dusty. Like, you're still who you are. So what about that? It's not gonna change the reality and fate that black men have. And what y'all should be doing is learning from what happened to Kevin and using it to change your ways. But instead, you're doing more of the same. You're doubling down and you're projecting your own fears of dying alone onto black women. Cuz let's be clear, that's what Kevin was doing. But y'all are completely missing the lesson here. But that's why you keep taking L's out here. That's why we're going to see more and more incel rage, and I'll probably do another video on that. But more and more, men in the news that follow the manosphere doing crazy shit. They're going to keep taking L's because they're not being responsible with what they put out there. You're going to keep taking L's because you're not learning the lesson. Toby Abumseli, he completely shit on black women while he was alive. Then when his snow bunny took him out, his brother had to get online and literally beg those very same black women to support him. Y'all don't see the irony in that? Kevin Samuels told us we would die alone, and then he dies alone. The irony. And yes, he did die alone because he was unmarried. As he stated himself, single does not mean married. So, pointing out the parallels and voicing our opinions about his legacy, that's not celebrating his death. We're just not singing his praises like you want us to. And to the black women who are saying, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed that black women are celebrating." How is it that you weren't embarrassed every time this man went viral for calling you ugly, for calling you leftovers and saying that you don't experience abuse? Like, how was y'all not embarrassed by that, but you're embarrassed by black women celebrating his death? Make it make sense. Like, y'all are so backwards. And this is why black women will continue to take L's. So worried about something that's gonna make you look bad when you don't realize what already is making you look bad. And I'm also hearing, this is some for real bullshit that I'm hearing. I'm hearing black women say things like, "Oh, well, black women celebrating the death of Kevin, um, that's gonna make black men not protect black women." Girl, do y'all really believe that? Like, do y'all really believe that? As if black men were protecting you already. As if black men are really planning on protecting you as a collective and building for the collective of black women. As if they're already doing that. Like, it's the fear mongering for me. Like, are black women really this gullible? And that's the same thing. This that's what really bothered me about Kevin, because it's the same thing he used to do. He used to fear monger black women by saying things like, "Oh, well, be worried, black women. Black men are gonna date out. We gonna go get us a white woman. We gonna go get Becky, Maria, and Maylene. If y'all don't get y'all act together," as if y'all weren't already doing it. What is going on? Like, but it works. Apparently, it works on black women. Y'all were already swirling at 3 times the rate black women are. You were already over the fence. You already preferred light, bright, and white women. You've been saying it. Most of y'all colorists, so we know what you want. It's the fear mongering. Right. Maria can season food. Nigga, please. The arguments are just so disingenuous. Yes. For decades, for centuries, y'all been swirling. Civil rights movement, you've been swirling. Nothing has stopped black men from swirling, and there ain't nothing gonna stop them now. Okay, ain't nothing gonna stop them now. That's why I said if you are gonna lose weight and become feminine, do that for first and foremost for yourself, and also to expand your options to other races of men. Don't be trying to do it for black men, because you're gonna be disappointed. If they want to go over the fence, they're gonna go. There's nothing you can do that can stop that. Marisol, honey, girl, look, I ain't gonna. I don't know. I don't want to spread no rumors. But girl, I guess Marisol can season some food. I don't know. I don't know. Is that what did Kevin find out the hard way that they can season food? And hint, hint, y'all know what I'm getting at. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, April showers. People are full of it. Pay attention to those in your life who are supporting this man because they are dangerous. Yeah. And the couple of people who I know who knew Kevin or knew of Kevin Samuel's content that I've talked about this in real life with, I will say this. Some of them don't know everything that he said. Like that's why I played the clips that I played. So, because I brought up the whole, facial symmetry thing and the abuse thing to the people in my real life, and they were like, "Oh, he said that?" So some of them really don't know everything that he said. Some of them don't know. So inform them, and if they're still talking about oh, but he didn't mean it like that, cut them motherfuckers off because they're dangerous. Thank you, Eleonora. Eliana, I don't know if I said that right, but thank you for the super chat. Thank you, and thanks for being a member for 4 months. Yeah, and yeah, we're not gonna do that. Like, don't sit here and act like because I know some of y'all. Why now? Why now? Why are you talking about Kevin now? I've been critiquing Kevin. I've critiqued Kevin's talking points several times in several videos in the past. And my issue with him, I think I brought Kevin Samuels up in the last video, didn't I? It was a recent video before he died when I was critiquing him. So I've always, had my criticism about Kevin. This is not, oh, and say he died. So no, nothing's out of context. No. That's what he said. I didn't play anything out of context. No, I didn't. Don't sit there and lie. That is what he said. If you're embarrassed, then that has nothing to do with me. Look at all these fake high value men in the chat. And you know what? That's another thing. Kevin really wasn't an advocate for high value men. That I don't know why y'all wasn't calling that out more. I've said that in the past too. And this is my issue with him. I feel like he wasn't honest about his platform or his intentions. And his fans in here, all of these wannabe high value men, all of these faux traditionalist men, you're not being honest. He encouraged black women. No, he scolded black women for having standards. And so how do you want black women to be, or how do you advocate for high value men when you're scolding women for having standards? And see, a lot of y'all, the reason why you're so butthurt, you're just proving that you agree with him and you're just as bad as he is or he was. And I'm actually seeing pro black men, or supposedly pro black men, and I know y'all know who I'm talking about, Umar Johnson, who are supposedly against, or were against Kevin, was against Kevin when he was alive. They're now coming to his defense and using some of the very same anti-black woman talking points to defend him. Even Umar said that a black woman might have poisoned him. Really, Umar? Really? Black women were nowhere to be found in this situation. And these are y'all beloved hoteps that are supposed to build for you and protect you and uplift the community and protect the community. Yeah, that's what Umar said. And see, when things like this happen, it really exposes how fake this community is and how Kevin was able to get as popular as he was. Even his ops are defending him. I'm like, damn, I thought you was an op. And now they're like, oh, that's not right what them black women is doing. That's not right. And black women may have poisoned him. Really? Not the hoteps, too. Child. And this is why I keep telling y'all, black men stay on code. No matter what group these men are in, low value, high value, hotep, red pill, they all have very much in common when it comes to how they feel about black women and how they view black women. It comes out in times like this. But they're sitting there telling you that you should be mourning men like that. Make it make sense. Yeah, it's very obvious that Kevin Samuel's platform was not truly for high value men. He preached high value and he encouraged some of the look that's associated with high value men, but he still heavily advocated for average and broke men. Let's just be honest. Let's be honest. Let's be honest about that. And his platform, it was to humble black women who thought they were too good for those kind of men. And I talk about that too, like know where you rank, know what you can get and all this stuff. So again, it's not that I disagreed with everything. If you want a high value man, you do have to factor in what he wants. Absolutely. But it has to be a real high value man. Like it has to be real. And for the most part, uh what his platform was for the average everyday man, black man that made 42,000 a year. The rare videos he did, addressing black men and trying to, talk about how they should be high value and all this stuff and how they don't deserve X, Y, and Z because they're fat and broke. Those videos don't make the rule. And that's why people have to use that one clip. That one clip where he was asking the man about his penis size and saying he was fat and too fat to date and all this stuff. That's why it's only one clip like that. Like this is what I'm saying. Y'all are so easily fooled. It's one clip where he did that. And that's why they only have one clip. Do you understand that? So then pretending like it's equal, it's not. Them using that one clip to say, oh, he was just as hard on the men. He was not. Stop lying. When he was talking about the men, he was talking about fragrances and wearing suits and shit. He wasn't talking to the men for the most part like he was talking to that man. He wasn't. TJ, thank you for your super chat. KS literally made a video saying that if a man makes less than 10K a month, he's not a high value man. Black women are supposed to accept that we're average at best, but black men won't stop calling themselves high value. You want to know why? Because he said that in one breath, but in the next breath, he advocated for men who made way under 10K a month. And that's the trick bag, you guys. And that's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. Like he said that, but on the other hand, those weren't the men he was advocating for. He was trying to tell black women to date average men and low value men who didn't make 10,000 a month, who weren't high value. That's what gave them um the audacity and the entitlement to demand such and such from whatever black women. That's why. Shame me, says Christy, will you marry me? Y'all are so cute. Yeah. So, if do you really think if Kevin Samuel's platform was for high value men, that so many average black men would have supported him? Come on, y'all. It's the math is not mathing. He consistently encouraged black women to date and marry men who couldn't provide. He would tell black women to spoil men with gifts like they're women. He did not have a high value man platform. And you can see that with the way his message resonated with everyday black men. And look, it's fine to have a platform for everyday black men, but don't be talking about it's for high value men when it's not. And okay, fine. It's good for black men to learn how to put on a suit and look and smell good. But let's just be real. Most of Kevin Samuel's followers, they're not thinking about or taking any action to become actually high value. They're not for most of them. The exception does not make the rule. This is why all the dust is over here in the comment section. And this is precisely why Kevin was not popping when he was trying to correct black man's image, because black men are not truly interested in improving. They're only interested in telling black women how we can improve, how we should improve. And black men also didn't support Kevin when he was trying to improve their image because black men stay on code. They don't collectively support anyone who criticizes them, male or female. They don't. So Kevin had to switch over to critiquing black women to gain more traction. He knew what he was doing. Shavetta says it always confused me how he gave therapy as the answer. Any good therapist will remind women about their worth and standards. They'd advise to stay away from freaks like Kevin that destroy your self esteem. Bingo. Thank you for your super chat. Goldblum says, "Hey, he also told black women to accept sexual harassment and abuse of children. It was sick and honestly unforgivable. He was not a positive or good person." Yeah, I played that or a little bit of that earlier. And to all the people who say, "Oh, he was just trying to help black women and bring black people together," y'all know damn well it stop the cap, y'all. If a black woman, if a black woman got up there on her platform in front of a million people and said everything that Kevin said to black women but to black men, how do you think she would be treated? Let's keep it a buck right now. How do you think she would be treated? She would be totally ostracized in the black community. She would be accused of hating black men and bashing black men. But when Kevin does it, it's tough love. What I do is bashing black men, right? But what Kevin did was to give tough love. And it's interesting how Kevin is being labeled as being balanced, and also in the same breath he's labeled as being an advocate for men, but black women who hold both black men and black women accountable and are advocates for women were man bashers. So it's a lot of double standards going on. What Kevin said to black women, it was not out of love, it was out of spite. And his objective was to humiliate black women and destroy our self-esteem. That was obvious, you guys. You cannot tell me otherwise. And it's really insulting to the black women who saw through his bullshit to gaslight us into believing that he just didn't mean it that way. No. No. And I understand that many black women didn't grow up with a good father in the home, or you had a toxic father figure or toxic male figures around you. So you think that abuse is tough love? But those of us, excuse me, who didn't grow up around a lot of abusive black men, those of us who didn't have abusive fathers, we know that what Kevin was saying and how he handled black women was not out of love. That is not even what tough love looks like. And I say that as someone who grew up with a very stern stepfather who was a Leo. And y'all know how Leos are, okay? Very authoritative, extremely authoritative. I know from experience that is not love what he was doing. That was not tough love. And so no, I'm not going to cherry pick the quote unquote good things that Kevin said, because if the shoe were on the other foot, it wouldn't be done for me. If something happened to me, do you know how much they would celebrate if something happened to me or any other content creator on here that's similar to me? No black woman is safe in this sector. If you hold black men accountable in any way, they're going to dance on your grave when you die. Period. It doesn't matter if you're polished. It doesn't matter if you're ghetto. It doesn't matter if you try to be fair and balanced. It doesn't matter if you beat around the bush, or it doesn't matter if you're a black feminist or an extreme divester, or someone who falls in the middle. If you hold black men accountable enough, they're going to celebrate your death. None of us are safe. And guess what? Neither was Kevin Samuels. You're not going to hold us to the standard that you would not follow if it was the other way around. Period. And to be honest, and that's why I said, like, I'm not, real funny and all spiritual about death like a lot of you are. I believe in karma to a certain extent, and I say to a certain extent because bad things happen to good people all the time. It doesn't have to. Good people die from heart attacks every day. You know, so I don't, I don't. It's like the whole spiritual stuff and karma stuff. Like, I believe in that to a certain extent. Okay, but I don't feel like anybody's safe on here. And Kevin Samuels is truly a case study for YouTubers and online personalities, including myself, because Kevin is getting more mainstream attention in death than he did when he was alive. And I know he's dead, but the articles are embarrassing as fuck. Like, it's embarrassing to him, for him. It is. It's embarrassing for his family. You know, he was known, but he wasn't well respected or connected. Not in the classy way that he was trying to portray himself to be. Those kind of elite circles he talked about, they didn't even claim Kevin, but they knew about him. They knew about him. They knew who he was, but they didn't claim that nigga. But he was just so classy and high value, right? Kevin was closer to being hood rich more than anything. Which, hey, money is money. I know some hood rich people. I ain't knocking it. I know some hood rich people that live better than me, okay? Way better than me. Got way more money than me, right? So I'm not coming down on him. Money is money. But my point is, YouTube rich, nigga podcast rich, okay? That don't count. It don't count in these circles. Not the circles that Kevin was talking about, okay? And this applies to, it's not just a gender thing. This applies to literally everybody who makes a career off of selling controversy and attaches their face and their entire identity to it. And this is why I will never, like, y'all can call me a coward, y'all can say I'm a scaredy cat, but I will never attach my face to this. I will never do this full time. I will never be, a quote unquote colorism activist, whatever y'all call me. I will never be that full time and attach my face to it and make this a career. Never. Never. I got too much to lose. And I'm definitely not rich. I'm not saying I'm a part of, the circles either, but I got a few toes in the door, and I'm not trying to fuck up my invites and my referrals because I want to show my face and be controversial and political on YouTube talking about black men and even talking about hypergamy. And that's why I tell y'all, hypergamy girls, y'all need to stop doing that. Stop showing your face. Learn from Kevin Samuels. I mean, it all depends on your goals in life and where you want to be. But I'm just saying, it's not a good move because what you're doing is frowned upon by the people that you want to impress. So if you're still social climbing, if you're still trying to get a high value man or gain access to certain circles, you don't want to attach your face to this type of shit. Because if you notice, YouTubers and other controversial online personalities like Kevin, they can make a lot of money. They can meet a few celebrities here and there. They can get invited on major networks here and there, but it's usually a cap to their success, right? And it's a social stigma placed on them that can interfere with their progress. At least if they don't have some other respected accomplishment or class marker before coming online, right? Like some YouTubers come online as doctors or lawyers, and they come on here to share their advice so they can still maintain their status, so to speak. And I know y'all are gonna call me elitist, you're gonna call me classist, but look, y'all need to know this. Black women, you need to know this before you decide to just put yourself out here and attach your face to politics and ruin any chances of doing something else, or risk your reputation. Learn from Kevin, because nobody is quote unquote tarnishing Kevin's legacy. The response to his passing is a reflection of who he was and what he represented and what he put out in the world. Nobody's making anything up about Kevin. With this many people, this many people responding like this is you can't make this up. What do you used to say? You can't make it up. You can't make it up. This is just who he was. So, just watch how you move. Watch how what you attach your image to, your identity to. Yeah. Kevin, I don't care what y'all say. Kevin was not pro black. He wasn't. Look, stop trying to make this man something he wasn't. If a black woman who dates out can't be pro black according to the black community, then neither was Kevin. Nobody is ruining this man's reputation. It was already what it was. And now all y'all in here talking about you're taking Kevin's words out of context. Look, even if I was, which I'm not, but even if I was, the manosphere constantly takes everything I say out of context. Sometimes they blatantly lie on me. There's all kind of videos out there with rumors about me from the manosphere. So you're getting back the energy that you put out. Use this as a lesson. Stop doing that shit. Stop doing that shit, or you're going to continue to take your L's. Y'all are mad about all the rumors swirling around about Kevin, but y'all spread nasty rumors about black women on this app every single day. Don't cry foul now, because it's happening to your godfather. Your own behavior is being mirrored to you. And even though you may not think Kevin himself deserves it, this is the kind of the behavior he supported and he incited with his platform through his words. And I think it's important that we understand the power of words. Words are like spells, and the spells that you cast on other people could be the spells you're casting on yourself. And this doesn't only apply to the hateful men online. It applies to us as well, ladies. And this is why, even though I'm stern and I'm honest, I make sure to choose my words very carefully. I'm not going to tell people how they're going to die. That's just too much. And I said a long time ago that the black men who tell black women they're going to die alone, that's them projecting because they're afraid of dying alone. And look what happened. So be careful with your words. And Kevin, he also wasn't healthy, but talking day in and day out about Big Shirley, the irony, right? About how black women need to lose weight. And I say that too, right? But I actually lost weight. I actually go to the doctor. I actually keep up with my appointments. I'm pretty sure I'm going to know if something is wrong with my heart, right? And same thing with David Carroll, which I never talked about him, but he was making videos about me for a long time. He harassed me for years before he died. And he was on video talking about how I don't take care of myself. Look, I took control over my health years ago, lost over 60 pounds, stopped smoking weed, stopped drinking. But this nigga was in his 60s, smoked cigars every day. I'm talking about David Carroll. and he ended up dying from COVID complications. And look, that can happen to anybody. But would it have happened if he didn't smoke? Maybe not. And so these are the men that we're dealing with, men who live in glass houses and throw stones. Instead of keeping up with their own health, they're focused on black women's health. How many times have I on this very platform encouraged black women to lose weight and work out and get healthy? First and foremost for yourself. I've even made myself vulnerable for um to attack by sharing my story about being overweight and losing weight. I've been very transparent about that. Do you hear that shit from them? I can name several platforms of black women who come on here and talk to other black women about the importance of health and losing weight. Down to the level up girls to the pick me's. Black women are always telling other black women what they need to do as far as health and losing weight all the time. But when it comes to health, I mean, did Kevin ever talk about? I didn't hear him talk about. Look, I didn't watch all his content, but you know when some people talk about that type of shit because you hear him say it frequently. I didn't hear him say that kind of stuff. Where are those clips? Where are those clips telling Kevin telling black men to go to their yearly, monthly checkups or whatever, get their prostates checked or whatever? Where are those videos? I rarely ever hear black men talking to other black men about health. Rarely ever hear that. And when it comes to health, Kevin is actually the perfect example of why all the talk about older black men getting with younger women, for the most part, that's a fantasy for older men. What young woman in their early 30s wants to experience a damn near 60-year-old man literally dying on her? That shit is traumatic. Let's talk about that part. And I was going to do an updated video about, the pros and cons of dating older men. That's the shit y'all don't want to talk about. Yeah, broke peen, all that other shit. And a lot of these women, they talk about how that they're waiting on their older men to die so they can get the insurance money. Yeah, they talk all that shit. But when that shit happens and they're there trying to do CPR, you don't think that is traumatic? That shit is not fun. That's not fun at all. And that's why a lot of people were saying, oh, she was so disoriented on the 911 call. A lot of people would be. You can't judge that, her reaction until you're in that situation. Now we could argue, she's a nurse. It seemed like maybe she would be used to that, but maybe she wasn't. And I guess I imagine it would be different if it's somebody that and it's girl. That's a hot mess. But the irony, right? It's like that was our competition, and I feel like y'all talk about karma. Was that part of her karma? I'm sure you knew what this man was about. I'm sure you knew what this man said about black women every night, and you just so happened to be the one that he dies on. Ugh, that's some scary, spooky ass shit. I'm just glad it wasn't a black woman. That's some scary shit. The irony. But yeah, um, that's something you have to think about when dating older men. And you do have to make sure they go get their checkups and all that stuff. It's not sexy, but that's a reality when it comes to dating older men. It's a reality. At some point, you're going to have to deal with that. That's conversation nobody wants to have. C says Chrissy, he died with a Mexican preference on Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, I see a lot of people saying that. Thank you for your super chat. Ballet is the way says that Latina woman sounded like a fan on 911 call saying it's Kevin freaking Samuels, as if the operator was supposed to know him. She knew he lifted her type up. Yeah, I'm sure she did. But that's what you get when you date these men. Like at some point it's gonna come back to you somehow. And like I said, I don't, it's a certain extent. I only believe in karma to a certain extent, but I do believe in it. And I do want to talk more about black women and our collective response to things like this. Let me say this. I would never tell black women how to feel about Kevin or how to respond to his passing. And obviously I'm talking about this now, so I don't think it's a crime to talk about dead people. I never have. You know, people are going to talk about when you die, especially if you're a public person. That's just the way it is. People are going to speculate. They're going to, talk about how they like you and how they don't like you. That's just what happens, Um but I will say that I think black women need to not support men like Kevin Samuels when it counts. Not when he's dead, but when it counts. The same way a critical mass of black women celebrated Kevin Samuels' death, I really wish y'all would I don't think it was a critical mass. I take that back. It's a minority, right? But it was a loud minority. Okay? It was a loud minority. But the same way a loud minority um celebrated Kevin's death, I wish y'all would have just not supported him when he was alive. Because our support is what made him successful. Refuse to support these men in the beginning so you won't have to backtrack when they blow up or when they die. Because when women like me were telling y'all to stop calling his show when he was alive and telling y'all how problematic he was, y'all were in my comment section talking about he really wasn't that bad. And now that he's dead, it's like, oh, well, I guess a lot of you did know he was that bad, right? I was actually a little bit surprised on how many black women were so vocal about not liking Kevin, because when I said it, I think it was maybe a year and a half ago, I think it was, I got a lot of pushback. I got a ton of pushback from other black women for critiquing him. And the only thing I will say is that when you celebrate the death of these black men, right, it does give something it does give black men something to run with. That's what I will say. And the truth is that they already didn't like nor value black women in the first place. So it's giving them ammo to use against you for it's like confirmation bias. They already felt that way about you and it's just giving them more ammunition. Right? So that is one thing I will say. And I think that speaking our truth, because when you say that, a lot of people will say, "Oh, you're trying to silence black women, right? You don't want them speaking their truth." And I think that highlighting our plight and black femicide and being vocal about our plight overall is necessary. So I would never attempt to silence black women who are bringing awareness to genuinely helping black women. Keyword genuinely, because a lot of y'all not genuine. Y'all not genuine at all. You're just recklessly venting, right? But I do think critiquing Kevin Samuels and the Manosphere it's necessary because they put out a lot of misinformation and harmful rhetoric, okay, and influenced a lot of black men to do fucked up shit. But I don't think celebrating Kevin's death is a good idea, especially with your real names and faces showing. And that's what y'all really need to get through y'all head. Like, don't just be on here willy nilly doing that with your name and face showing. That is not smart. Okay. And I don't give a fuck who cries about respectability or says I'm victim blaming. But I'm saying I'm including me in this. We do need to move with caution. Listen, you can't say in one breath, you can't in one breath tell black women to stay away from dangerous black men and, oh, don't go near them, and that, they're this and they're that, and then in the next say that taunting them is not dangerous and putting an even bigger target on your back. Because that is, you're in complete contradiction when you say that. Oh, stay away from them, they're dangerous. Oh, I can say whatever I want. It's not that deep. It is. You're drawing them to you. You're not repelling them. So yes, it's making you more vulnerable to attack. I don't care what you say. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Like I said, I even had to clean up my timeline because I'm like, y'all niggas ain't about to catch me. Fuck that. I have to be careful about what I share with y'all because, and a lot of you notice. You're like, where did your such and such post go? No, I'm not. I'm not doing it. Not doing it. So yeah, just be careful. And yeah, the optics do look bad. I just wish that black women will learn, and maybe we will in the future. Like when stuff like this happens, just wait it out, be quiet for a minute, don't celebrate, just be silent. Just be silent and see what happens. Don't give them any ammo, right? And then say something when they start talking crazy because they're going to do it anyway. But don't give them ammo against you. I don't think that's smart. But whatever, y'all not gonna listen to me. Y'all gonna tell me I'm victim blaming. And I want to end by saying this. This may be the end of Kevin Samuels, but his message will live on. His message will live on. There are so many smaller Kevin Samuels inspired platforms at this point. The damage is done. And you know what? Black women will likely keep making those men famous. Sad to say, I feel like they will. I feel like black women will likely create another Kevin Samuels. I'm not 100% sure that we've learned our lesson from this. I'm not sure of that. Because we will support these men all to complain about them when it's too late. But even though Kevin is gone, the damage is done. So, if you really didn't like what he did and what he represented, really stop supporting these men. Like, really do what you say you're going to do. I can count on one hand how many Kevin Samuels videos I watched. And that's usually because somebody is sending me his videos because he's saying something out of pocket. I really did not watch his content like that. And I would definitely never call into his show. I see people saying, well, why y'all didn't never call on his show? If you had a problem, why you didn't talk to him? So, nigga, please. Because I'm not stupid. That's why. That's why. I would have never called up to Kevin's show. Ever. And any smart black woman would have never done that. Any black woman with any ounce of dignity would never do that. And I don't know about y'all. I'm not interested in debating black men. I don't want to go on their panels. I don't want to debate them. For what? For what? I'm not about to let them call me for what? What is there to talk about? I'm just not interested in that. It's not about my points. I don't want my points being challenged. My points are challenged all the time. It's just that I just think that's a fruitless conversation. It's a waste of my time. I would never do that. It's a waste of my fucking time. I have so much better things to do with my life. So yeah, that's all I have to say. There's some other stuff I want to talk about, but we'll save that for later. I do want to talk about like just the incel rage, and I'll do a whole video on that because I want to cover some things that some very interesting things I've been seeing. But for now, I'm gonna go, and yeah, thank you guys for joining me. More content coming soon, and I'll catch up with you in the next one. Thank you guys for all of your support, for all of the super chats. Anyone I missed, I apologize. Thank you for joining to become a member, and I'll catch up with you guys next time. Bye.